Well, a lot of us are familiar with Red Pig tools. I'm with Seth. We're in your workshop. And tell us about Red Pig tools.
Well, we've been around for over 30 years selling handcrafted artisan tools. We make them here in the Portland area. We make them out of American materials. We put a lot more detail work into most of them, and they're heavier duty. They're meant to last you a lifetime. And mostly we build tools that are based on historic designs that have our current aesthetic.
Right. And so they are an artisan tool. So they are handcrafted and hand forged.
Hand forged, yes. So we do a lot of hammering to shape things. We bend them. They go in a forge. It is all handwork. And
you have, the range of tools you have. About how many different types of tools you have?
Every year we make somewhere around 200 different types of tools, thousands of tools overall. But right. There's about 50 different hand tools that are really common that people buy every year. They're kind of regional specialties as well as national specialties, as well as the most common stuff you'd find. And then another 100 to 150 long-handled tools.
Right, because we see a lot of these tools, or some of these tools, in nurseries or home stores. But a handcrafted tool definitely has some benefits.
For sure. The handcrafted tools are meant to last a lifetime. They're the ones that you still find in barns today that were made 100 years ago, 80 years ago. Tend to be made with a higher quality steel. They tend to be thicker, heavier. They tend to be designed for the work that was meant to be done rather than for the engineered manufacturing process. They tend to look more unique. They're not perfect. Every single one is different. So everyone has it's like a person. You get to know how to use the tool, and then you start to love it.
Now you have a couple examples of here of a tool that you might find just at at a hardware store or something like that, and then ones that you make. So can you show us some of the differences of what people should look for when they're looking for a tool? So
this is a really common type of 3-tine cultivator. People use it to mix in amendments, to break up clumps of dirt, to do all sorts of things. This is the imported version, the one you'll find at almost any hardware store you want. You can get a sense of it's probably 1/4 inch steel, maybe even less. Here it's pressed. The shapes are pretty angular. The weld's extremely light. It'll eventually break or bend if you use it. Another thing you're looking at is some of these angles and your handles. American hickory is one of the best handles. That's what we use. This is, could be any number of different types of woods. You just never know what wood is being used. And then ferrules. We always use a longer ferrule. Short ferrules are much more common. And you can see that we rivet things in. So a rivet is a really common indication of a good tool. And this rivet is essentially we drill a hole through the metal shank, through the handle, goes all the way through to the outside, and then we hammer it down. So you have a mechanical connection.
It's not coming loose.
No, and most today do come loose because they're just shoved in with epoxy.
Right.
So those are some of the key things you can look at. Of course, one of the sort of common things is the disposability of a standard hardware store tool, and these are tools that we make, Red Pig, are meant to be cared for as well as used. So no tool's indestructible. You can take a hand trowel like this, and even one I make, and break it if you stick it under a rock and try and pry out a rock. It's not meant for that. It's meant for working in the soil, for digging, for maybe even light weeding, any number of things, for transplanting.
So with such a wide range of different tools that you carry, there's kind of a tool for every job, right?
There is definitely a tool for every job and a tool for every person. Some people like them light, some people like them heavy. Some people need reach, some people want them close by. Some people insist on digging out a weed. So this is a Jekyll Weeder. It's great for prying things out, going deep, digging, working under rocks. It's great. Often when you're doing that, you are bringing up new weed seed. It's going to germinate. You're replanting weeds.
Right.
But some people, that's the way they want to do it. Other people, outside of lawns, if you're working in a bed, will want to scuffle, they'll want to cut the weeds. And this is really I think is the more efficient preferred method. You go back and forth with this tool. Some of them you'll just draw on, but you actually are cutting weeds early, cutting them when they're young, damaging them, and they'll die right there and then biodegrade in the soil.
And then this is kind of an interesting tool right here too.
This is called a Cod Weeder. This is a little version to make them small and quite large, all the way up to long-handled tools. It's been around. It's more or less invented in the United States in this iteration about 100 years ago. However, there's European L hoes that have been around for quite a bit longer than that, probably from Germany originally, or that area. It is a scuffle. So it goes back and forth. The originals were mostly meant to be drawn towards you.
Okay.
They're generally, the original ones that you'll see are sort of flat steel that's just bent around. So it was kind of a beginning of a mass-produced tool here. This I hammer down flat, sharpen it, bend it, put it all together.
And and for somebody that has one of your tools, what is just some basic care to keep the tool lasting long?
There's a few things that you can do. One, when I ship them, they're coated in a clear enamel. They are pre-sharpened, so sharpening is good.
Okay.
Generally, if it has a sharpened edge, you can keep it sharp with a mill bastard file or some kind of file. You could take it to a farmer's market, have somebody sharpen it there, but that's a good idea. It'll be better. Overuse, the handle will probably not wear away unless you're grabbing it up here, the enamel. But on the blades, that'll wear away after use. If you're using it all the time, no big deal, but you may want to oil it. You may want to spray clear Rust-Oleum, spray paint over it. There's any number of things you can do to keep it there, but generally keep it, don't let wet soil sit on it. Your handles are coated in paraffin wax and stain. They should be restained and or oiled every year or 2 years if you want to get the longest life out of them.
Right. So, with some just basic maintenance, you can keep this tool a lifetime.
For sure.
And for people that are interested in these tools, where can they go to find them?
Best place is online at redpigtools.com. If you're in the Portland area, I do sell a limited version of tools. Here's a version of a 3-tine cultivator that I sell through a lot of retailers around here, JP General in Multnomah Village, Garden Fever in Northeast, Portland Nursery, Shriners Iris Gardens, Concentrates. Those are some places that carry a limited array of the tools.
So for more information on Red Pig Tools, make sure you go to gardentime.tv and we'll click you over to their website. So,
Great.
Seth, it's been a pleasure to be out here. I kind of want to go tour and see how you're making these tools.
Well, let's do it.